Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Psychosin project here on That Metal Station. Joining me backstage at the Cliffs Pavillion is Jayce Lewis. Welcome to the show.
Hello, welcome. Yes, hello there.
Right, how you doing? How's the tour going?
Yes, it's been going well. I've just sort of jumped a lurgy because our tour bus is like one big germ den on the road. Yeah, the tour's been amazing. You know, it's my second tour with Gary, and you know, it definitely feels like another 10 steps above what I did years ago on the first tour. So it's been an absolute delight touring with him and his family and his crew.
Yeah. I was gonna say, as we came out, you seem quite close to him all. So.
Oh yeah. Well, ultimately, me and Gary, are great friends, and his wife Gemma. We're always staying in touch, and his children as well. So it is like a very, very close knit sort of friendship, really.
Excellent. Now, as you mentioned, you're currently on tour with Gary Numan, who his audience is.
Very well. The shows have been incredible. Glasgow, Nottingham, Rock City, Leeds, Cardiff, Bournemouth, they're the ones that really stick out for me. Brixton Academy, absolutely immense. But there has been the odd show here and there where both myself and Gary have sort of been a bit perplexed with just the lack of engagement from an audience.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised you're getting that.
Yeah, we've had that a few times, and Gary actually got really, really annoyed. It was actually at the show last night. We were in Norwich, and he almost nearly didn't come out for the encore.
Really?
And then he eventually did, and then just said, hey, an encore is not compulsory. Do you really want it? And it was just this sort of polite clap. It's very odd.
Yeah. Surely, if you're paying for a ticket to go to a gig,
Well, this is what we've been saying.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why people are paying that amount of money and wanting to come to a show and got this very lackluster sort of engagement.
It's unfortunately happening a lot more because I've seen it with a few gigs. You're the only one going mental, and you look around and everyone's just like, scale up.
Yeah, it's very odd. And we've also had that that we're both too loud, which is another one that's
both too loud.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of gig they're coming to.
Not loud enough, in my opinion.
Now you're about to release your new album called Million, which Million Soon. Is it in 2 parts from when rightly?
It is, yes.
Yeah. Why are you splitting it into 2 parts, just out of interest, as opposed to just a double album?
For me, the music industry has changed an enormous amount.
Yeah.
And the days of investing 3-4 years of your time in putting it all into one album just for somebody to absorb it like fast food almost. Because that's how I see music these days. It's such a throwaway commodity now.
Yeah, the invention of MP3 really in a way.
It's a throwaway thing. It's just like fast food. So I wanted to. I had to think about how I could get the listener to be invested in the process.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do a pledge thing. I'm with Universal, so I couldn't do that. So my adaptation to it all is to almost release in a series.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done. So ultimately, the listener will have part 1.
Yeah.
There'll be a sequence of single releases with a video. And then that leads us into the second part with more videos and stuff. So it's like everybody's along for the journey, and they've got that to look forward to.
It's kind of doing the Netflix thing where you have it season box sets.
Exactly that. Because people are watching that more now than films.
Yeah.
So it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. Now, what can people expect from the new albums, I should say?
On this album I've gone... Now that I've absolutely figured out my sound, because I've got my own recording studio now, so I've got all the time in the world to do my own stuff and produce it and mix it as much as I like, with a good friend of mine, Chris Clancy, it's very much. I've stripped all the guitars. There's no guitars. It is just synths and organic drums that are doing the music. And so I wanted to mix organic with synthetic.
Yeah.
And of course then, you've got my voice. So it's very epic, it's massively wide synth sounds, a lot of soundscape. Almost sounds movie track in some places, but it's undeniably hammering drums.
So you're slowly becoming the UK Trent Reznor, essentially.
Yeah. I've had that a few times actually. And the thing is, I don't know, other than Hurt, I don't know any Nine Inch Nails. Well, a lot of people say that I'm like Nine Inch Nails. And
you definitely have elements, but I'm being the fanboy that I am. I do hear Fear Factory in there as well. Bit of obviously Numan, a bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm not influenced by Gary at all. I wish I could say I am, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But I am influenced by Factory, by the Fear Factory guys, and they are influenced by Gary. So it's like a third generation filter of influence.
Yeah. And now, here's a bit of a question. I don't know whether you want to answer. You started as a solo artist, then you became Photofilled, and then you've gone back to being Jayce Lewis.
Yeah.
What's happened there?
I'm glad you've asked. I started off as a solo artist. So incredible things that I don't think anybody could plan happened. The stars aligned in so many ways under that name. And for some reason, Universal wanted to sign me on the back of the demise of EMI Records, because EMI Records, who I was signed with, went into administration.
Yeah.
That almost left my career as an open season, and so they were kind of originally just suggesting maybe you should change the name. We think it's early enough in your career to do that. It'll just be a transition. Bearing in mind, I had already written the album, which is called Nemesis, and that was my second solo album. So I was left dangling, thinking, what the right thing is to do here. And eventually, their suggestion became sort of, advice, and well, it's either you sign under this or we don't sign you, kind of thing.
So advice stroke forceful. Continue your career, or
I kind of understood what they were trying to do, but because they were like, the Jayce Lewis name, let's make it a bit more mysterious and mystique, give it a bit more mystique, and I never felt it was very confusing for me. Very confusing, because the dynamic of the band changed. Ultimately it was, I was there as the front man, and as Jayce Lewis, the solo artist, with a group of friends playing on drums and guitars and whatnot. But as soon as we were listed as a band, the whole thing changed, and I couldn't run away farther from it. And then it just basically pitted out to nothing, and I just couldn't wait to rediscuss what we're going to do with Nemesis. So we've reissued that under Jayce Lewis, and I've got this new album, Million, under my Jayce Lewis name. So Protofield is buried, and I'm buried, but only the name. Nothing was different. It wasn't a band. It was still me, just under a different banner.
Due to record label, in quotation marks, advice. Now over your career, you've worked with legends such as Gary Numan and Burton C. Bell. When you started, did you ever imagine you'd be sort of reaching these heights of working with these people?
Well, I've always told myself that anything is possible. Everything and anything. And it is quite crazy that people that have had a real influence in my growing up as a kid in music and in movie are all in some way now linked in with me personally. So it must be the laws of attraction from influence, and I've obviously made it a quest to go out there and link up with these guys. But since I've had Darth Vader as my manager and business partner, I'm not starstruck anymore by anything. So for me, I feel very accomplished now that I've worked with these people and I can call them a friend. And It's quite amazing, you know. I mean, like I had Roger Taylor on the last album. I've got Brian May on the new album. The reason I do music is because of Queen.
Yeah.
So it does feel quite incredible. And when I discuss it with somebody, that is when I then realise how far I've come.
Yeah.
You know, that I've got that recognition amongst the ranks, which is really quite special.
Now, what can people expect you from the live show? Now, I've already seen you. I saw you first. I saw you. You were supporting Killing Joke years ago. I think you were still doing your first album at the time. Yeah. And then I had seen you. I just can't remember who you were supporting someone else. I've unfortunately never seen you on your own tour, because you always tour when I've got no money, which is really annoying of you. Stop doing that, please. But yeah, I mean, what can people who haven't seen you expect from a live show?
Oh, well, a show that a support act wouldn't be putting on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, every show I put on is like as if I own the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I give it everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I saw you with Killing Joke, I mean, you gave them a proper goddamn run for their money that night. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, you know, I speak to these guys beforehand always, you know, like with Gary on this tour, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a competition, it's not about that, it's just adding value to the tour.
Yeah.
Thankfully, these guys can see the plight that I'm putting forward, which is, I don't want to be just turning up with an amp and a laptop and a black t-shirt, and just, you know, it's just not. You know, they put on a great show, and I put on a great show, and I think, you know, that adds to the value, especially for this tour with Gary. You know, I mean, we've spoken about it nearly every night, and you know, it's really worked well. People really do feel like they've had a great night, and they've had their money's worth out of both of us, really.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe your own sound?
Oh God.
Yeah, this one that gives a lot of people this question.
How would I describe it? Actually, I did label my own sound punk industrial, because of the vocals and some of the chops and stuff. But then this industrial underlying sound with synths and stuff. So I'd probably stick with that.
Excellent. Now, obviously, new album Millions coming out in 2 parts. Is there going to be a running concept throughout the whole album at all, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, theme-wise, I'm very audible. I'm not a very subject matter hungry kind of guy. It's more sounds that float my boat.
Yeah.
So subject, content, and subject matter is something that are very personal to myself. But the theme is more in the audio, and that is quite a futuristic, epic sort of journey, really, that you get right from the start to the end.
Now you've managed to sort of get over the Protofield thing and everything else. You've got your own studio. We'll be looking at trying to release new music more regularly now. Obviously, if you're time with everything else that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I like to take my time. You know, I do get a lot of people at the beginning of my music career wishing to have stuff faster.
Yeah.
But I think people now kind of understand that, you know, because I am writing every musical instrument part, I perform every instrument on the album. It's just one guy doing all of that. So it's a hell of a task. And I can't rush that.
Yeah.
So, you know, 3 years to do an album, I think, is a fair.
Yeah, you're not quite getting the 10 years tall at the moment.
No. Well, the thing is, I don't want to fall in that gap of fast food music. You know, I don't want to just put something out that's just rubbish.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You know, well, not rubbish to me anyway. Maybe other people think it's rubbish, but
make sure
there's a thought gone into it. You know, it's like a fine wine, and I want people to own it and to keep rediscovering something the more they listen to it.
Yeah. Now, who are the biggest influences behind your music nowadays?
Well, I would definitely say my dear friend Burton C. Bell. And Fear Factory. I mean, I've got every album.
Just to clarify, I haven't paid him to say this. Everyone listening to my show knows.
Oh, Burton paid me. No, I love that man. You know, I'm so lucky to have him as a friend, and you know, I grew up on Fear Factory, but Fear Factory most definitely. Jean-Michel Jarre, who else? Nero, Prodigy, and most definitely Queen.
Yeah.
You know. And Sepultura for rhythm, for all the drums, all the tribal stuff. That's a huge influence on me. So I think that kind of wraps it up in influence world, you know.
So in the future, would you like to maybe get Max Cavalera on an album if you could?
I'd love to get Igor.
Oh, Igor, yeah.
I'd get Igor Cavalera. He's my drumming hero.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He's fairly amazing. Yeah,
he's incredible.
He's up there with Gene Hoglan.
Yes. I've met Gene. Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't met him. I always wanted to interview Strapping, but unfortunately they ended before I got the chance.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
Now, what are you still looking to achieve with your music?
Longevity, I guess. You know, it's an incredible thing that, you know, your music carries you right through life and journey and around the world, and you get to meet new people, and people celebrate your music and your releases. But you know, it's I think the industry is in murky waters right now.
Yeah, it's
and it's reverting back to the fan.
Yeah.
To be able to sustain and keep it supported and prop it up, really, because I don't think the record industry can really do that these days. So we're all thinking the same.
Yeah.
And I just hope that, you know, with that, that we can all keep our heads above water and keep, you know, releasing this art, and that people still want it and support it. And because, you know, the biggest encouragement that I get, and I know Gary gets it a lot, is that when you have somebody say that this music changed their life, or it did this or whatever. I mean, that is something that is so bizarre, but I understand, you know, because I'm a fan of music, you know, so.
Now, apart from Igor Cavalera, who else would you love to get in to do a guest spot on one of your albums?
Oh God.
I'll say this and then I'll be on the album after Millions now.
Well, one guy I did want on my album, who is going to be on my album, is Professor Richard Dawkins.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah, so he's doing a little speech part on Million Part 2.
Yeah.
I'm a huge follower of Professor Dawkins and his amazing assistant, Rand Russell. They're great guys. So after Richard Dawkins, it's becoming pretty narrow now. I feel like I've almost, you know, Freddie Mercury would have been great. But I don't know, maybe Rihanna. I love Rihanna's voice.
She's guested with everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
It's worth a try.
Yeah. You know, maybe actually Fife Ewing, who was the original drummer in Therapy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Is another big influence of mine on drums. I'd love to track that guy down and have him do something.
Yeah.
You know, not many people would know his name, but I don't care about that. You know, I loved his drumming style. I thought it was...
Yeah, it'd be more for you whether it's the song at the time. Probably.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, what's next for you after this tour?
I go to LA. I'm going to be staying with Burton from Fear Factory, and I'm in a project with him called Essential of the Watchers. Yeah. We've got some shows to do with that band. So right after this tour, I get 2 days off, and then I fly to America. And
whole 2 days.
Yeah, I know. And then I'll be knocking Gary's door because he's in LA, and only me. Just when you thought you could get rid of me, nope. Here I am.
I think he'll be on his next tour as a sport again.
Well, yeah, I'd love to do the American tour with Gary, but yeah, because I committed to Burton, and to do that with him, and yeah, I'm very excited about that project too.
Yeah, because were you on the first album, Essential Watchers?
No,
no. Because that was very hard for me to get hold of that first album, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, because I hear that first album and it was okay.
There's a very strong Cure influence on it.
Yeah,
I found. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Burton likes that.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of guitar sound and all that. But when I was working with him, because we did 2 tracks last year in my place, and I brought loads of synths back into it, and also worked with him on vocals, so that I wanted him to go back to where he was in '95, doing that goth voice, because he was in a project called GZR. With Peter Butler, and when he used his throat, you know, when he did that kind of thing, I wanted him to do that again, and so we reworked his vocals and went back to his classic sound. That and doing the synth work that I did with him on the new songs made it feel like a real evolution of Essential Watch. It's almost like a Blade Runner sound,
which you could hear was slowly coming from the first album.
Well, I've really encouraged that now.
Yes.
And the pair of us were freaking out like kids in the studio, you know. And the thing is, I'd never seen Blade Runner either.
Yeah.
Burton was the guy that introduced Blade Runner to me last year.
Introduced it to you, or just sort of went, you've got to watch this?
No. Well, when I said I'd never seen it, he almost said, we're not friends. But he couldn't believe it, because the sounds I do apparently are very Blade Runner-y, but I get that from him. Yeah. So it's very weird. It's a very strange thing. You know, it's very odd.
So he's like a perfect band there. Fear Factory means Blade Runner, you know. It's just
exactly, yeah.
Now, finally, have you got anything you'd like to say to your fans listening to this?
Yeah, I really appreciate the support and the belief from everybody. I enjoy meeting you all, and please keep supporting the cause. You know, this is real music. It's not bullshit, and I do it for me, and I do it for you.
Excellent. Well, Jayce, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I try to face it